Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are going to be diving straight into identity columns in SQL. So what is an identity column? An identity column is basically a numerical column that gets automatically populated with an integer each time we insert a row of data to the table. They are usually integers but can be other various types such as big int, for example. They must not allow nulls, and you can have one identity column per table. So let's head over to SQL Server Management Studios, where we have this character table that we created in the last couple of videos. Please go check that out in the playlist. And if we expand that, we can see the columns that this table has, and we can see we have a primary key column here. Okay, but is this primary key column an identity column? Let's see. We can investigate that by right-clicking here and clicking on properties, and we get this new window here where we can find the parameter called identity, and as we can see, it's set to false. Well, that column is a primary key column, so it uniquely identifies each record in that table, so great for that. So to insert a record into this table, let's see what we can do. Let's open a new query. Cool. Make sure it's for our database that we are executing these queries on. Okay, and let's insert a record into this table. Okay, so we can, let's just have a look at what we've got in here first of all. Select all from TBL character. Okay, so these are the values we've got in there at the moment. So let's insert a value, a new character into our table. So we can go insert into TBL character values. Then we have we'll go with 7, I guess. We'll go with Sonia as a new character. Sonia. We will give her an age of 29, I guess, and we need a gender. So let's see, we can grab one of these values from, do we have any genders in that table? No, we do not. Okay, cool. So we'll just enter null in there. Cool, that'll do for us, this table. So when we insert that, okay, it inserts the record into the table, and then when we select that, great, we've got our entry in the table. So now the problem is with this table is every time we make an insert to this table, we have to provide a primary key value. Now, if you want to do that, then that's great. But in the real world or industry scenario, most of the applications you will work with won't expect you to provide an ID for every entry you make to the database. So we have to automatically do this in SQL Server. And that's through the identity column, okay? Let's create a new table called weapons using the GUI, okay? So we can right click on the table folder and click new and click table, okay? Then for the column name, we can have column ID, okay, and for the data type, we can go with an integer. Okay, we don't want to allow nulls there. Now, if we right click on this, right, and select properties, yeah, we get these this column properties pane that we can expand, okay, just so that we can see a bit more clearly what's going on there in there. And then we can we can search for this identity specification section here, okay, and we can expand that, okay, and we can basically set the identity to true, okay. This is identity, okay. Let's set that to yes. Okay, which means that the column will always be automatically populated, okay, every time we put something into that table, some data into that table, okay. We can also specify how in terms of the incrementation we want it to increment, okay. And incrementation just means obviously going up. How many numbers do we want it to increment by? So if we make an entry of 1 and we say we want it to increment by 5, the next one will be 6, and so on and so forth, okay. Cool. And then obviously the seed just indicates the number we want to start from. So 1 is the default, but if we want to start from 100, then we can just set it to 100 and it will do that for us. Cool. We also want this column to be a primary key, so we can set the primary key here with the arrow where we right click here. We can right click there and click set primary key, okay. Now that's a primary key now, and we can go down to the next row and we'll give I don't know, the we can say name, which will indicate like the name of the weapon, and we'll make it in varchar 50 maybe. Cool. And we'll allow nulls, okay. So now let's right click at the top and select save, okay, and we will call this new table table TBL weapon, okay, and this is our weapon table, okay, and then we click OK. So now that's saved. So when we go over here and we click refresh, okay, we should see our new weapons table, okay. So we can open up the column folder, okay, and then we see our primary key, okay. We can right click on this and go to properties, okay, and that opens up a new pane, and we now see it's different, okay, to the last table, as it has this identity field. Where is it? Set to true, okay. Now when we insert data to this table, we don't have to specify the ID column like we did with our other table, the characters table. It will automatically, SQL Server will automatically handle that for us, okay. So let's try and do that. Let's try and insert some data into this new table, okay. We'll spin up a new query, maybe. There we go. And we can go insert into TBL weapon, values, and then we want, ooh, I spelled that wrong, but anyway, I'll correct that in a second. Value sword, close the brackets there, get rid of that V, and when we execute this query, we get 1 row affected, okay. Okay, and when we go over here and we refresh, actually let's select all from TBL weapons, weapon. Okay, if we execute this query here, we should see that we now have an entry in our table, sword, and that has the column ID of 1, and that's where we said we should start from. Obviously for the seed we said we start from 1, and that's what's happened. Okay, then if we insert another value, so we can copy that, okay, and paste that underneath, and we will say crossbow, and then we want another one as well. We can say axe, okay. We can insert these 2 values, so we'll insert this one, and then we'll insert this one, okay. You can already guess what's going to happen when you refresh the table. You see everything is incrementing by 1, okay, and it started from 1, you know, as we specified in the settings, okay. So let me show you something else. So if we get rid of the second entry, so if we say delete, ooh, I can't spell it, delete from TBL weapon where ID column ID, is it column ID? Yeah, column ID equals 2. Let's get rid of number 2. Okay, so let's delete that. Okay, if we now refresh the table, you can now see we're missing a record with the ID of 2. But when we add another record, let's see if it replaces 2. So let's insert another record in. Okay, and we'll say this weapon is a lance. Cool. Okay, let's insert that weapon in. Cool. And now let's see, when we refresh this table, is it going to replace 2 or is it going to increment the next number? As you can see, it's incremented the next number and not replaced the missing ID of 2. So let's try to do what we've always done to insert data. We can explicitly insert the number. Okay, so let's see if that works. So if we explicitly insert a weapon, yeah, insert into TBL weapon. And what I mean by explicitly insert a weapon, I mean with an ID column. So if we go 2 for the missing ID, and then we go with a dagger, because that's the weapon we want to insert, let's see what happens. So let's insert that. Oh, we get an error. It says an explicit value for the identity column in table TBL weapon can only be specified when a column list is used and identity insert is on. Okay, so what's going on? So basically this identity insert is on. So let's turn that sorry, basically it's off at the moment, so let's turn that on at the moment. So that means that we can insert the identity when we need to, ad hocly or explicitly. So we can use this function set identity underscore insert. Oh, have I gone too far? Yeah, underscore insert. Okay, and then we have TBL weapon, and then I can't spell today, weapon, and then we'll set that to on. Okay, so when we run this, it should set that to on. So that's it. Okay, now when we insert this time, we have to specify the column names and the ID number we want. Okay, so this time, as it warned us with that error message, we have to specify the column names and ID. So in this scenario, the column name is column ID, I think it's called column, and the other one is name as well. Okay, so those are the names of the 2 columns that we have. So when we run that, okay, so now it's worked fine. So now when we refresh that table, let's see what happens. Cool, it's inserted our dagger entry, and it's obviously filled in that gap of 2. Now we can use this method to fill ID gaps if we want, but when we want to the auto way back, where it populates the IDs for us, we have to switch this identity insert function off. So we can run this query. Okay, let's switch this off. Okay, and when we run this query, now all our inserts are automatically handled for us by SQL Server. Great. So one more thing before we go, let's delete all the rows from our weapons table. So we can do that with this delete command. So delete all from TBL weapon. Okay, so that should get rid of everything. Delete. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Delete from your weapon. I don't know why I specified all there. So we run that command. So everything's now gone from our TBL weapon table. So if we refresh, we can't see anything there. Okay, so if I want to insert another record, it's going to start incrementing the ID from our last entry. So if you can remember our last entry, I think it would have been 4 entries we had in, and it's going to start incrementing from 5, I think. So let's insert another weapon and see what it does. Let's see if it does start incrementing from 5, I believe it was the last ID we used. Let's see, great sword. So we're going to insert a great sword weapon in, and let's see what happens. So we've inserted that in, and when we now refresh our table, look at the ID. As you can see, it's incremented by from the previous position it was at. So if we run a delete command, again, to delete all the entries from the table, we can now use a specific command to reseed the database, sorry, the database table, which means that when we now do entries going forward, because the table is now empty, because we've emptied it again, everything starts from 0, okay? And we do that with this function here. So it's dbcc check id ent, okay? And then we open up the and specify the table name. So in this case, it is a TBL weapon, okay? And we want to do a reseed, okay? And we want that reseed to start from 0. So we're specifying where we want to start from. So let's run that. Okay, so check identity information. Current identity value is 5. DB execution completed. So now let's try that again. So let's see. So let's execute another insert, and hopefully that should start from 1. Okay, so this time we're going to insert a shotgun. This time, shotgun. Right. So let's insert that and run that. And now let's see where the ID starts from. It starts from 1. Great. That's exactly what we wanted. That's all for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please smash the like button. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. And we'll see you in the next video. Have a good day, guys.